I remember the exact sound of that night. The faint thump of bass vibrating through the walls, laughter spilling out from the backyard, and my heart pounding like a drum that refused to stop. I wasn't even supposed to be there. The party was for my wife's work friends, the kind she told me were just networking events. I declined her invitation earlier that week because I had a late shift. But when my manager told me to take the night off, something in me, something quiet and uneasy, told me to go anyway. It wasn't suspicion at first. Just a strange itch in my gut that wouldn't leave. I stopped by a liquor store on the way and picked up her favorite bottle of red wine. The cashier smiled at me, asked if it was for a date night. I smiled back, but my reflection in the plexiglass counter didn't look happy. It looked tired. When I pulled up to the house, the driveway was packed with cars, the windows lit up with a golden glow. I could hear music, laughter, clinking glasses. For a moment I hesitated. Then I went in. The door was unlocked. People were everywhere, dancing, laughing, moving through the dim light and the scent of spilled beer and perfume. I saw a few familiar faces from her office, but she wasn't among them. "Hey, where's Lisa?" I asked one of her coworkers, a tall guy named Jeff who always seemed too friendly for his own good. He paused mid-sip, eyes flickering briefly toward the hallway. I think she went upstairs," he said, and something in his tone felt off. "Upstairs?" I repeated. "Yeah. With Ryan, I think. Her boss." The way he said it was casual, almost careless, but it hit me like a knife twisting in my ribs. Ryan. I'd heard that name enough times to memorize it. The late-night calls. The urgent deadlines. The weekend strategy meetings. Still, I told myself I was being paranoid. I told myself my wife was faithful, that she'd never. But my legs were already moving. The hallway upstairs was quiet, the music muffled beneath the floorboards. A single door was half closed at the end, light spilling through the crack. My hand trembled when I pushed it open. And in that moment the world split in two. She was there, Lisa, my wife of 6 years, the woman I once thought I'd grow old with. Naked. Her body tangled with his. For a second no one moved. Ryan's face turned pale as a ghost, frozen in shock. Lisa gasped and grabbed for the blanket, eyes wide, mouth opening and closing like she was drowning in her own panic. "Daniel, wait," she started, but I didn't wait. I just stood there, wine bottle still in my hand, heart hammering so violently I thought I'd faint. I didn't shout. I didn't throw anything. I didn't demand answers. I just looked at her, really looked at her. The woman who used to call me her best friend. The woman who used to cry in my arms when life got hard. The woman who swore she'd never lie to me. And she couldn't even meet my eyes. The silence stretched until it was unbearable. Ryan muttered something under his breath, fumbling for his shirt. Lisa tried to speak again, but her words were tangled in tears. "Daniel, please, this isn't." "Don't," I said quietly. "Don't insult me with a lie right now." Her lips trembled. "I didn't plan this. It just happened," I said, finally meeting her eyes. "Was that before or after you invited him upstairs at your work party?" She flinched like I'd slapped her. Ryan tried to say something about it being a mistake, but I didn't hear him. I just turned, walked out and left them there. I didn't remember driving home. I didn't remember putting down the wine bottle or taking off my jacket. I just remembered sitting in the dark of our living room, staring at nothing, the weight of betrayal pressing down on me until I could barely breathe. The clock ticked. My wedding ring felt like a shackle on my hand. When she came home hours later, mascara smeared, hair disheveled, I didn't even look up. "Daniel," she whispered, voice cracking. "Please, can we talk?" I nodded slowly, not out of forgiveness, but because I needed to hear the truth come from her mouth. She sank to her knees in front of me. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. "It didn't mean anything. I was drunk and he..." I raised my hand. "Stop." Her breath hitched. "Lisa, don't reduce it to a mistake. You made a choice. You didn't trip and fall into his arms. You walked there." Tears spilled down her cheeks. You've been so distant lately. I felt invisible. That one hit deeper than any blade. 'Cause she wasn't wrong. I had been distant. Work had swallowed me whole. We'd been arguing about money, about her career, about stupid, small things that never should have mattered. But I thought we were strong enough to survive them. She reached for my hand, but I pulled away. Do you love him? Yes. Her silence was my answer. The next few days were a blur of half-packed suitcases and shattered routines. I moved into my brother's place. She sent texts I didn't answer. Long, desperate messages that swung between apologies and pleas. Every night, I'd lie awake replaying the moment I opened that door. The disbelief. The betrayal. The way she looked at me like I was the intruder. And still, a small, cruel part of me missed her. That's what no one tells you about betrayal. It doesn't erase love. It poisons it, turns it into something sharp and unbearable. A week later, she showed up at my brother's apartment. She looked thinner, hollow-eyed. Can we just talk? She asked softly. Almost said no. But curiosity or maybe closure won out. We sat in her car outside. She stared straight ahead, hands gripping the wheel like she needed something to hold on to. I ended things with Ryan, she said. It was stupid, reckless. I don't even recognize the person I was that night. Neither do I said quietly. But I saw her. She winced. I don't expect forgiveness. I just want you to know I still love you. I turned to her then, and for the first time I saw her not as my wife, but as a stranger who happened to know every detail of my life. Love, I said softly. You don't destroy someone you love. She broke then, sobbing so hard her whole body shook. And I realized something. My heart didn't ache anymore. Just felt empty. I reached for the door handle. Lisa, I said, my voice steady. I'm not angry anymore. I'm just done. The divorce was quick. She didn't fight it. I gave her the house. I didn't want it anymore. It was just walls filled with ghosts. Months passed. I went back to work, started running again. Spent weekends fixing up an old motorcycle I'd neglected for years. I even started sleeping through the night. Then, one evening I got a message from an unknown number. It was her. I saw you at the farmer's market today. You looked happy. I hope you are. I stared at the text for a long time before replying. I am. I hope you find peace too. I put the phone down and stepped outside. The air was cool, the sky streaked with fading light. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like a man defined by betrayal. I felt like someone who had survived it. Months later, a mutual friend told me Lisa had quit her job and moved back to her hometown. Ryan had been fired not long after that party. Apparently word got out. I didn't feel satisfaction. Just a strange kind of closure. Sometimes when I look back on that night, I still see her. Standing there, frozen, naked not just in body but in truth. And I realize that my silence, my calm, the way I simply walked away, that was my revenge. Because I didn't need to scream. I didn't need to beg. I just needed to let her see the man she'd lost, the one who refused to break for her betrayal. It's strange how betrayal teaches you about strength. Not the loud kind. The quiet kind. The one that sits inside your chest, reminding you that walking away with your dignity is worth more than winning an argument or proving a point. That night at the party broke something in me, yes. But it also built something new. I don't hate her anymore. I don't even resent her. I just hope wherever she is, she remembers the man who walked in, saw the truth laid bare, and chose to walk out instead of fall apart. Because that's the moment I stopped being her husband and started being myself again.